What's up everybody, Danny here, and today we're gonna overhaul fully lower legs and the upper legs, the RST Omega coil fork. Most of the steps we're gonna do will apply to most of the other coil forks, but I thought it would be really good and might be helpful for you that I point out 5 most popular mistakes in servicing our own forks when we just do it at home. Let's hit it. And here's the first mistake, not actually checking out what kind of model you have and what's inside of your fork. You know it's a coil, cheap, budget fork, and you just hit the button when you see the video on Stickbacker's channel. That's not enough. Of course, the beer maybe, but before you even go into that, check out the model. That's what we need to look at. All right, my fork is the RST Omega. You might have RST, RockShox, Fox, or maybe the Santur, which will be also very popular coil fork. But this is not enough info. Let's check further. I can see here on the lower leg, on the inside of the left leg, travel 100 millimeters. So that's what I already know about the fork. It's got 100 millimeters of the travel. On the right one, on the back side of the right lower leg, I can see some warning info like do not use it for downhill, dirt, jump or stunt. But then this symbol is interesting. BLDL, Omega, T and L and some numbers. I'm gonna check this out on the catalogs and also online. There you go, I've got the catalog. You can find same exact info online. This is my fork Omega 29 and it comes in 4 different versions: RL, TNL, MLC and T. TNL, that's the symbol I found on my fork, which means, for example, 32 millimeter stanchions. Adjustments: L and P. L is the lockout and P is the preload. And then the lockout is hydraulic on the TNL. If it was the MLC, that would be the mechanical lockout. This is the hydraulic lockout. Hydraulic means oil. That means I'm gonna need some oil for the fork. The next question is how much and where? And it fits to what we've seen in the catalog. Here we only have the mounting bolts for the lower legs, no adjustments down here. Let's look up there. This side of the fork will confirm everything we just learned so far. Here is the preload. You can see right here, preload, plus, minus and small thing to hold it with your fingers. So there is the spring and we just put some more or less tension on the spring by using this adjustment. And then on this side we have this knob. We can open it, we can lock it, and when you see this little logo or sign, it means this is the lockout. And it's true, when I put it in this position, the fork will not move. When I open it, it will move. So here is the hydraulic lockout like the catalog says, and we expect some oil in here. Here we go, we can finally start the job, but before you disassemble the lower legs, that's the second mistake actually, we need to clean everything thoroughly. So guys who don't do it, they just want to put the hammer down and remove the lower legs, will find the dust on the dust seal, some dirt and lots of mud which can easily stick to this part of our fork. It will just fall inside of the lower legs and then it can be really difficult to clean it. So first I'm gonna make all my area, my working area clean, and then I'm gonna show you how to remove the lower legs because this is so easy. I'm not pushing the dirt inside the seals, but I'm trying to get rid of it. Everything is clean now. There is also no fibers from the old towel I'm using. That's why the little brush I'm using is really good for that. Now the mistake number 3, I've seen some tutorials online in which people say, now use a screwdriver if you don't want to remove the legs. just to open up the space between the dust seal and the upper leg, and then spray some Brunox or any other lubricant inside the fork. You never want to do it, because in this way you will damage the dust seals, and this is the only protection that your stanches have against the dirt. You don't want to open those, never. We remove the lower legs. You can use the Brunox, but that's only for cleaning and just wiping off the upper stanchion, and that's it. Do not use the screwdriver for opening your dust seals. It's time to remove the lower legs. Everything will not be complicated. Now the bottom of the fork is a bit higher than the upper part of the fork, because what we need to pay attention to right now is how much of the oil will be just poured out of which part of your fork. So we are going to unscrew these bolts. And before I remove the legs, I want to make sure no oil will just drop down, because I want to use my little buckets and measure how much oil there was. If your fork is old, there maybe used to be some oil and it's no longer there, but this is always a very good method just to measure how much was there. And one extra tip: if you couldn't remove one of these bolts because they would just spin with the insert of your fork, ask somebody to actually push the handlebars, push the fork down, apply some pressure to it, and then it might help you with the bolts. I didn't have any problems here, but that's the tip. I'm checking out whether these are the same two bolts. They are not. This one on the right leg is shorter, this one on the left leg is longer, so I'm gonna put those on the table so that I know how they go back to it. I'm preparing two buckets. This is the big one, and you can put the whole fork into it, but I'm gonna use also the other one, just some small bucket after the cucumbers, because I'm gonna pour the oil out from each leg individually, if the oil is there. Boom! It's dry, so there is no oil here. It's not supposed to, because this is the new fork, so we're not gonna put any oil into the lower legs. Sometimes, if you want to kind of tune up your fork, you would put a little bit, but that's for the whole other episode. So we know now that there was no oil in the lower legs. This is now my working area. I still do have my two buckets here. And mistake number 4, that's the second last mistake I'm going to show you, is just removing the lowers just as it goes. Just pull those down and that's it. Don't do it. Do it really smoothly and slowly, because you might remove some spacers or some little elastomers or any other parts which are just at the end of the upper legs, and they will just stay at the bottom of your lower legs. And you may not notice they are even there, especially if it comes to just like a small spacer. It can just get stuck at the bottom of your lower legs. So do it slowly. These are our uppers with the suspension part. This one is the hydraulic lockout. On some forks that would be also the rebound, also the compression adjustment, which we don't have here. All the loop here is new, so I'm not going to replace it. You just use some rack with which will not leave some fiber on the parts. Clean rack, some degreaser will be good. Same with the lower legs. Clean those inside, so use something long with the rack, clean it. Make sure there is no parts at the bottom of the upper legs, of the lower legs. And sometimes it's also a good idea to spray some degreaser and just use some warm water to actually clean it. But then make sure that before you assemble the lower legs, it is all dry inside. the part of your fork which really needs some nice care is absolutely the dust seals. You want to clean those. You want to apply some grease on the seals and make sure that the seals are sealed up around your upper tubes. If they are not, you want to replace those. They just pop off, and sometimes you would need some additional tool to help yourself put the new ones, because the new ones might be hard to put back on your fork. Here I've got some original grease for the fork. You might use probably any brand grease which is specifically designed for the forks. You apply this on your finger first, and then just here around the seals, both seals, left one and the right one. And also you can use some longer object and put the grease on it in order to apply the grease also inside the upper legs, the lower legs. You can see it's there. So once the lower legs are first clean, second dry, and then greased, they will be waiting for the assembly. And that was the first part of your maintenance, which you're gonna do more regularly than this one, because the insert of the upper stanchions we're gonna service or maintain rarely, maybe once a year. It depends on how many hours and how do you really like ride your bike, but the lower leg maintenance should be done more often. Now this is the key or the tool you need for the RST fork in order to remove your spring. So that's something really worth investing in if you are the RST fork owner. Particularly this model. I don't know about other models, but this model will need it. On the air fork we would let the air out, and on the coil fork we're gonna set the preload on the minimum. That's here. Now I'm using my tool in order to disassemble or remove this whole spring. This part stays in here. Let's move to our hydraulic lockout and remove the knob. Now be careful at the end, because there are some little steel balls in there. This is very nice. These are the two steel balls on the springs, and here we have some small, how do we call it, space for these balls, some small holes, so that when we turn the knob it will do some nice clicking. Ooh. And one of these just fell here inside this little hole. I'm gonna remove it later, so let's remove gently this one here. Now I'm gonna use my wrench. I wanted to use my wrench for removing the lockout, but it wasn't that easy. It felt like it was really stuck in here. So to be honest, I helped myself with this Spark tool, SPA6 with the pins. I've put the pins just here, pressing it like this, and then it went really nicely. I'm not sure this is the method or there is some other tool from RST for this one, but now I can easily, nicely remove it without doing any damage. Now I know the answer to the question, how much oil should we put into the either lower or the upper legs? And the answer is none, zero. There was no oil inside here, so you don't have to use any oil for the RST Omega coil fork. Even though we had the hydraulic lockout here, we don't put any oil in the leg, and I'm gonna show you why. Here is our lower legs, clean and greased. This is the left side, this is the suspension, this is the coil fork. On the fork here we have some, these are like some rubby sleeves on it. This is some kind of elastomer, I would say. So you want to degrease all this and put a lot of grease. You can see there's lots of original grease. Don't use any aggressive degreaser so that you won't damage any rubber seals or any other rubber parts. Okay, so that's important. And here's why we don't use any oil for it, because we would say the rebound, but this is actually just the lockout, is fully closed. So it's probably not really meant to be opened by us, but still we could use here, I think this is the 13mm wrench, and we could open it up. So if your hydraulic lockout stops working, you could probably remove this and put some oil into it and make it work once again. So this is it. But anyway, as for the RST Omega, you don't have to worry about any oil coming out or about using any oil for just the full overhaul, lower and upper legs. Now we're gonna put all this back together. In both cases we have the plastic thread, so make sure you put it in the right way. It goes straight into the thread on your upper legs. It will start to go pretty hard very quickly, so don't worry about that. Alright, we just do it by hand thus far, and then I can use the wrench. You want to have your upper legs clean and check for any scratches. And also the fifth mistake we sometimes do is using the rack, which will leave some fiber. So maybe some old cotton t-shirt would do the job better. Now you want to have all this clean, the grease on all the parts you can see here, and also here inside the lower legs, and now we can assemble this. I'm pulling the hydraulic lockout down so that I'll be able to thread my bolt in, and also I'm trying to center the other side on the spring side so that the threads will fit. I'm helping myself with the small knife and pushing a little bit in order to center the thread. The shorter bolt on the right leg. Same on the other side. The job is done. Now I'm just making sure that the seals are clean. There is no grease on the outer side of the seals, because they would just get dirty very quickly. The fork is ready to go. From time to time I'm gonna just clean the upper stanchions and the dust seals. Sometimes also use a little bit of the Brunox spray. And that's it. If you have any further questions, put those down in the comments or on the forum, because this video will be linked also on our forum.sigbiker.com. Share with us pictures of your forks on the Facebook group SigBiker FB. You're gonna see the link, you're gonna find the link in the description. See ya guys, bye bye.